Hey you guys, this is Jess with Sourceful Journey, back with another video. So this video in particular, I want to focus on a statement that I actually saw online it's about a few months ago, and I had it in my notes and I just came across it. I'm like, okay, I really wanted to tag this one. So it's about the notion of you are not being selfish, rather, you're just being selfless. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. So, selfless and selfish. Selfish and selfless. No matter how you flip it, at the end of the day, I personally feel it's all about being selfless. See, the only way that one's attitude or demeanor could be viewed as selfish is when it comes to individuals who feel a certain way because you cut off certain doors, or you close certain doors, I should say, towards them. Maybe it's something you may have stopped doing that you once allowed this individual or group of individuals to do. And the fact that you cut that channel off, now they feel a certain way about it. Sadly enough, this could be viewed as being selfish because you cut off their supply. So whatever are they going to do, right? So not realizing the reason why you did it was for yourself, the betterment of self, to really truly focus on self and your happiness. See, while those individuals or that individual, depending on your situation, was taking, right? They failed to realize from their end, they were being selfish in their own way. Let's talk about it. The reason why I say that, because they were being inconsiderate about how you felt in the process, because they were only caring about self and what they could gain from it. So where was the heart in that? But now that the tables have turned, and now you took control, you took reins of the situation. Now they feel a certain way about it. That's when you, as the individual, have to ask yourself, was this individual or group of individuals truly in my corner? Did they truly care about me in terms of my well-being during the time that I was always there for them, or as much as I cared for them, to give them that opening? It's funny when one starts to shift gears and is truly focused on self, that's when the other's true colors come to the forefront. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot, because you may have felt that you were dealing with one particular individual or group of individuals, but to only realize it was the complete opposite of what you would have ever expected. And this could be applied in so many different ways. It could be whether it is with, family, whether it may be with friends and family. Think about that. Even co-workers, which I spoke about this in previous videos. There's no such thing as co-workers being friends. There's maybe a few that you can trust, that you can confide in to an extent. I would say tread that lightly, as I mentioned in my previous videos. Be logical. I guess you could say be vigilant. When it comes to that scenario, because it's just one of those things that I think you have to, be careful with when it comes to that particular space. But I will say this, when you start to shift gears in reference to all of it, and you really start to be more selfless, that whole notion of caring about self versus, letting someone else run over you, it goes out the window. As far as, how they feel about it, you should not care one bit. Because as I mentioned a moment ago, did they care about how you felt when they were running you into the ground? During that time, did they care at all in terms of like how you felt when you were just being drained of all of your resources and your energy? Chances are, not at all. Because as long as they were getting what they were looking for, that's all that mattered. And sadly enough, you know, due to conditioning, a lot of people may feel, they just may feel that that's just okay, that that's the norm. Like it's nothing odd, you know, this is just friends. This is how friends work. This is how people that you are familiar with operate, whether it is friends, whether it is family. The reality of it all, you guys, is that it's not normal. It's not okay. You know, and a lot of that has to do with social conditioning, because maybe we've seen a friend of another friend doing this for quite some time, like maybe you have an older sibling. Let's say we see how an older sibling interacts with a friend, like an old friend of theirs that they've known for some time, and they see how their bond is and thought that that was like the norm. So we assume to follow that accordingly with our friends too. Same can be said about family. You may see how a certain parent interacts with the other relatives, like whether it's your aunts or uncles, and you think that, oh, that's normal. But in all actuality, it's not normal. You know, you deal with a lot of narcissism. There's so much to it. The point I want to make here is that this is the time where we have to change that narrative. We have to change that thought process and truly focus on being more selfless, and understand that when we came into this plane, this earthly plane in this lifetime, to care for others can go only just so far. Understand that. It can only go just so far, because our vessels are only made to take just so much. And we have to truly focus on the lessons that we need to live out, that the things that we need to get through during this time before we ascend again. So yeah, it's a lot to take in, but at the end of the day, once people truly understand this process and start to really be more selfless in terms of their day-to-day existence, things would be a lot better, a lot easier to get through. You know, and you'll start to understand and realize, wow, there's other people who are going through, or who have been going through the same scenario that I am going through currently. You realize that you're not alone in this journey as far as these experiences go, and that it is truly okay to be just that, to be selfless, and of course to do it with love. You know, to make it clear, it's kind of like that saying, sorry, not sorry. You need to have that mindset, the sorry, not sorry. Because at the end of the day, that was their thought process when they were taking from you. Whether it was your time, your money, your resources, your energy. Just sitting here, me thinking about the individuals that I had to sever ties with. I did what we would call a clean house, I guess, or is it clear house? Is it a clean house? When people say it's time to clean house, I think it's the clean house, right? Yeah, that was me. And I did, and I'm not turning back. I could tell you a huge weight was lifted, and I needed to, because I've always been one that's always been a giver. Just give. Whether it was monetarily, whether it was with resources, whether it was time, energy, And I did it. It's just conditioning because I thought that that was the norm, whether it was with friends, particular family members, not all, because there's some that I still have such a major respect for. I speak to them periodically, but a good chunk of them, family, as well as co-workers. Don't get me started with co-workers. We won't go down that path. But the point that I'm actually just trying to drive home here is that when I severed those ties and I started to be more selfless, that was such a breath of fresh air. I never felt so free and have a sense of feeling, and just in terms of your mental, you're more carefree because you're not giving up a darn. I really want to say the other word so bad, but I know you two probably are. So I didn't give a care. I just, to have that thought process of not caring what others think, in a sensible way, of course, not where you're breaking rules or committing crimes, excuse me, but to have a sense of like, I'm just being me. I'm just doing me. You know, it's just, it's an indescribable feeling. It really is. You know, I say it's just, it's like a weight lifted. But in a lot of ways, I have to say I'm at a loss of words sometimes, just knowing where I am in terms of all of it. And I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I seize this opportunity, this moment sooner? And the reality of it all is because it wasn't meant to be revealed. Just got a notification here. It wasn't meant to be revealed to me sooner. This was the time that it was meant for me to come to this realization. When I say this time, I meant the time frame of when I started to become more aware of self. And I started to realize there was no need to hide who I truly am and what my gift is. I have to admit though, it was funny knowing that I had this gift when others didn't know that I had this gift. Like an example with my ex. Like a lot of the stuff that I knew that was going on in reference to him, even while we were together, you know, towards the end of it was when I was like, no. And I actually, the fact I never shared that with them, I think that was part that's pretty funny. So it was something that worked in my favor. And I say all that to say, even when it comes down to the gifts, you guys, you know, once you become aware of self and what you are truly capable of doing, don't run from it. Embrace it. Show it to the world, put it on a plaque. But the sooner you do it, the better. Everything else is gonna start to flood in like a floodgate, like no other. So be selfless with no regrets. So that is all for today's video. What do you guys think about that? The whole notion of one being viewed as selfish versus being selfless. I honestly feel that the only way that one could be viewed as being selfish is when it's dealing with others who were using that individual, and when their supply has been cut off, whether it's with energy, whether it's with time, etc. That's when they're being viewed as the bad guy, the one that is selfish and don't care about anyone but themselves. Don't let those words trigger you. Just saw a crow. Don't let those words trigger you. Just say, you know what? No, I think you have it all wrong, John. It's not me being selfish. I'm just truly being selfless now. You know, and leave them sitting where they're at. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's running this vessel. And Johnny Boy, he has something to do with that. as you know, you don't have anything to do with what's running his vessel, whatever that may be. I'm telling you guys, the moment you do it, it's gonna lift a weight like no other. Keep it going. Don't look back. And continue to be unapologetically you in the process. So, and to do it, and again, do it with love, you know, being positive. So, yeah, that's all for today's video. Definitely don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Consultations are still open for the fact that we're going into a new week here. So definitely take advantage if there's something that is of interest to you. But yeah, other than that, I will speak to you guys in the next video, and have a blessed Sunday.